That's
Are we
now
live?
live,
Live.
Chair. We can start the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Rochdale South Township Committee. It's 6 o'clock, and before we start, I'm just going to remind everybody that this meeting is live stream on YouTube, so it's going to be there for some time. And so, make sure that you don't say anything which you don't really mean it. So, going on to the agenda, item first is apologies. Do we have any apologies?
Chair, we've received apologies from Councillors Hornby and Farnell. I believe Councillor Meredith is now in the meeting. It's been struggling to get in.
Okay, thank you. Going on to item 2, declaration of interest. Members are required to declare any disclosable pecuniary, personal, prejudicial interest they may have regarding the items on this agenda, and also the nature of the interest, and if also need to indicate if there are any aspects of Local Government Finance Act 1992, if they are applicable. So if anybody has to declare.
Can I just declare my interest, being a bit facetious, Chair, and I know we're being live streaming, on item 8. When I listened to John Blundell again tonight, I think this will be either number 5 or number 6 times that I've heard it. And I think I could, unless he changes his script, Chair, I think I could almost take it over for him. But I recommend the report later on. But I look forward to it yet again, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Zaman.
Yes, same goes for myself and also Samina.
Yeah, I think there's an item related to Link for Life as well. My internet is down since morning. I can't go on my laptop, so I'm using my mobile internet. So if I go away, so please apologize. I'll try to come back.
No problem.
So I can't access my agenda. So I think it's item 3 regarding
item 6. Link for Life is item 6.
Item 6, right? Yeah, I'm on Link for Life board.
South area SPD is
SPD. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's done. Thank you. Okay, going on to the next item 3 is exclusion of public and press. So there's no public or press, although we are live on YouTube, but there's no public and press. Item 4 is any urgent business, Michael? Rachel?
No, Chair, no urgent items this evening.
Okay, thank you. Right, going on to item 5, open forum. Obviously, there's no open forum.
We haven't had any items for the open forum, Chair.
Have other meetings we used to get some information about area forum meetings and all that, so that's not there. Okay.
But through you, Chair, could I just ask Michael?
Yeah, go on.
Has there been, in other townships, have there been open forums? Have people from the public engaged? I think they may well have done in Haywood, especially over their local plan. Is that? Can you just confirm that?
Oh, that's correct, Leader. We had a number of items on the open forum last night. Councillor Blundell was in attendance as well. We had 31 questions, I think, submitted for one item, plus a number of environmental items submitted as well. If any members of the public do want to engage in the open forum for township meetings, they can submit their question in writing as well as their registration. Up to 12 noon on the day, and we will invite them into the meeting, into the Zoom meeting, to ask the question personally if that's what they wish to do, or read the question out and provide a written response within 10 days.
Thank you, that's great. And those who are watching on the YouTube, I believe that there are some members of public who are watching this meeting on YouTube. If you have anything you would like us to consider, or if you have any question in future meetings, you know that you can submit your question through the township to ourselves, and then that will be discussed and considered in our meeting. Okay, right. Item 6. Next item is Link for Life. Do we have somebody from Link for Life?
Yes, that's me, Chair.
Hi, Darren. Hi.
Hello.
Good evening. Welcome to our South Township Committee meeting.
Thank you
Over to
very
you.
much. Thank you, Chair. So,
Always a pleasure to see you, Darren.
thank you very much. I feel very welcome. Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for inviting me onto the agenda and letting me come this evening. For those that don't know me, I'm Darren Greisel. I'm Deputy CEO at Link for Life. I'm here really, I can offer an update, but I'm really here to make an offer and an ask. Many of you will know, obviously, since the pandemic, many of our buildings have been interrupted and many of the things that we would do normally have been interrupted, but we've been very busy behind the scenes, and many of our team have been working very closely with the community hub and the community response, and working very closely with yourselves, with councillors and with the teams in Rochdale Borough Council. And that's really led to us doing a lot of thinking over the last year about how we might work much more closely with communities and in each township, and how we might kind of plan the way that we work differently going forward. We've learned a huge amount from working with the partners and the communities on the ground through the hubs, and I know our team have been really inspired by that way of working, and I think the response in Rochdale Borough has been absolutely fantastic, and we think we've got a huge amount to learn from working more closely with the townships and with communities. So we'd like to be much more closely involved with each of the townships. We'd like to come to the meetings if we can, so that we can learn about what the differences are in each of the townships, what some of the opportunities and challenges are, and how we might help and continue to build on the work that we've been doing through the period over the last year. We think it will make what we do much stronger. We think it will hopefully connect much more with local people and local communities, and it will give us a better understanding of what's needed and how we can help and support. Beyond that, we're happy to be in the meetings and to answer questions as need be, and to give you updates about what we're doing. And around all of that, we really want to focus around the health and well-being of communities. We want to really focus on how people can have more of a say in how we design and deliver the things that we do. And then a big thing that we want to do is think much more closely about the environment and environmental impact. And I note that the kind of focus with communities and the environment particularly resonate with some of the objectives of this township. So we'd like to work with you closely on that. So the offer is to be here at the meetings and answer any questions. And the ask is, could we please come to meetings?
Thank you very much, Darren. First question, I'm just going to say that in the past, we actually allocated some funds to Link for Life, where you were delivering some projects. Because of the pandemic, what's happened? Are they on hold, or would you continue afterwards? Because I know some of the activities you are hoping to organize in community centers, which obviously was not possible, and also some of the others as well. So if you can just update us with the
40 minutes to listen to this. Okay.
Yes, of course. So any funds that we have for any activities are ring fenced and held for that activity. So some things have been able to carry on using digital means. So we have different groups that meet on Zoom, and we have virtual things happening where we've been able to reinstate contact. So there were periods last year in the gaps where we were able to reinstate some managed contact. We have done so, and where we haven't, we're holding ready to reinstate those groups as soon as we can, when we know what the route map is going forward. But any projects that we've had, we've either adapted them to delivery, or we are adapting them to deliver in the new time frame as we get to reopen. We have been putting a lot of our activity on an at-home portal, so many of you may have seen we've been working every Wednesday. We produce new homeschooling resources from the museum, for example, for parents at home. So we've been adapting and creating things where we can, but where we haven't been able to do physical one-to-ones or physical meeting with groups, we hope to start those in shortly.
Thank you. Any of the other members wish to? I'll just need to go on the chart. I think it would be good if you can actually raise hand if anybody wants to ask Darren anything. Anybody wants to ask Darren any question? No.
Danny.
So
Chair, we've got Councillor Meredith.
Danny?
It's not really a question, but I just wanted to say, I know Janet sent out the booklet that obviously you've done about how you've been engaging with the community. And I must admit, when I was reading it, I was actually very fascinated and I thought it was very informative. So I just wanted to praise you on that. I don't have any specific questions for you tonight for Link for Life, but it would be nice to see you come in the future because I know that we've got a very diverse community in Rochdale South. So it would be great to see you come along and, and tell us what you're doing, and then we could input into that as well. So I just want to say that. Thank you very much, Chair.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. That's great. Anybody else? No? Darren, thank you very much. And we hope that we'll see you in our future meetings. And in the meantime, if there's anything anybody wants to ask Darren or any link for life, you can send email to Darren directly as well. And thank you very much once again, Darren. You take care and hope to see you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, let's move on. Item 7, minutes of the meeting held on 4th of November 2020. Right, we are in 21. So can someone, I hope that you have read the minutes. There was fairly short meeting. Anybody can...
I'll move it, Chair.
Right, seconded. Can I have someone to second the minutes? Okay, Ashram received second. So minutes are approved as a true record of the meeting held on 4th of November. Okay, let's move on. Item 8. Now, this is Rogers Station Areas SDP supplementary planning document. The plan. This is something I think if I go back to 2001, and there was some discussion around these plans in 2006 and then 2010 as well. So I hope, we do when we have area forum meetings or any public meeting, Alan, Mina, and some of the other elected members are aware that people do raise this question that where's this, big plan or transformation and all that. I hope we are on the page and discussion has started. And we had a brief presentation by John in one of our briefing sessions, which was really very, very helpful and that gave us a lot of information about this plan. So over to John.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd come and give a bit of a preamble tonight. I'm actually just looking at who's on the call to see which officers here to support with it. I don't think we've actually got one unless, so you might end up having me to answer your questions. Nonetheless, I hope I can do so. Well, essentially, when I first became a cabinet member and Alan appointed me as the cabinet for regeneration, we spent a long time talking about what we wanted to do in the borough, and the main thing that I wanted to try and achieve was to try and create this basically station gateway and get the area around it developed. Obviously the leader was supportive, he's in the middle of his ward, but nonetheless this has been quite close to my heart from the start. It is a Labour Party manifesto commitment, so every year the Labour Party publishes, well, every election period publishes its manifesto, and one of the commitments in it was the Rochdale corridor strategy to try and focus brownfield development rather than in green areas. Because a lot of the times when we're speaking to the public about where they want to build, they tell us they want the infrastructure in place, they want us to build in areas that are brownfield. So that plan we puts a focus on the sites around stations, basically doing exactly what the public ask us to do. So this SPD basically gives the council some authority in planning terms when it comes to implementing the contents of the document. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of it in there about pedestrianisation, the build of, well, it doesn't go into too much detail, but it does provide a clear direction to what's going to happen outside the station and kind of the scale of what's going to be built there. And then basically what it means is when it comes to, hopefully it won't do, a compulsory purchase, so we want to shut a highway. It just means the council's got a bit more weight than having a strategy that kind of sits on the shelf. So this is part of the consultation process that it comes to Township for you guys to feed in. A lot of you have already seen this at the regeneration briefings that I hold. It's been long in the train, and this is kind of, I won't say getting to the end because it's taken so many years to develop and get to this stage where we can get it in a more formal, so I'm looking for the word, formalise the plan a bit more than simply having a strategy. But now all I need to do is survive another 5 years to see it get built. But I'll leave it there and I'll ask for any questions. I don't know if there is an officer here to present.
No, I don't think. Michael, there's nobody here from.
Just checking to see. I mean, we have invited them. That none of them appear to be online currently. I am chasing it.
That's all right. I'll try and field any questions, and if I can't,
Okay. I think just to give you some update, because there were so many issues around that area near the station and around near the station and all that parking. Is a lot of issues. People have been coming to us through our surgeries, advice surgeries as well. And in the area forum meetings, issues have been raised. Other public meetings, similar issues have been raised. But bearing all those issues in mind, I think it's a good start. We are moving forward, and hopefully, the consultation is going to start. We encourage members of public and businesses to come forward and give your views on that, and hopefully then we'll take from there. I had one meeting with Mark Robinson and the people from Greater Manchester Transport as well. So there was some information provided. So it's good that we are all working together on this plan. And I have Councillor Meredith who would like to ask you a question. Councillor Meredith.
Yeah.
I'll be very fair to you, John, so I'll keep it easy. It's just a quick question. Obviously, I know about it. It's been to scrutiny. We've looked over it. And it's really good what we're doing. It's regenerating them brownfield sites, exactly what we need to do. Now, I just wondered if you could offer a guarantee whether these flats that are being built, I understand that they are rented, but they won't be pricing people out of the area. Will we have that guarantee at all?
So it's not really at that stage in terms of developing what exact type of housing will be going on each site. The council's working, so I chair Rochdale Stations Alliance, which is essentially a collection of TFGM, Network Rail, Northern Rail, London Continental Railway, and LCR are there to kind of offer help and a bit of resource in terms of developing things like, viability and deliverability appraisals, which look at, what's the gap, how much was the council have to plug, or is there a profit? So we might make a profit in other parts of the corridor that we might want to subsidise some more brownfield development in this area. So we're not really at that deep level of detail in Rochdale to say there'll be this number of 2 beds, this number of 1 beds, and they'll be of this price point. But naturally, because of the area, the prices will reflect what people would be willing to pay. The aim is certainly not to price people out, but we are trying to provide a different type of housing in that area. Neighbourhood Rochdale in particular, that's kind of been announced for Capital and Centric, that was at the end of Mountopia. That'll be a completely different housing offer in the town centre. We do want to try and get more types of flats and apartments, and when you're only 16 minutes away to the city centre, this location is perfect for that.
Thank you. Elsie?
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks, John, for that presentation. And they look like some good regeneration proposals. My question is about the proposals for pedestrianisation at the front of Rochdale Station. I just wondered where you would plan to put the taxi rank, or where the taxis and private hire vehicles would go if these plans go ahead, please. Thanks.
So there's nothing concrete, but at the minute the taxis are just set back from the station front. We actually remember it's when this has happened and you've got all the buildings built around the station square, the back of the station will actually feel like the front. So the back will, where you got the station at the minute, it feels like the front because that's where people pick up and drop off. The pick up and drop off point will flip to the back of the station, and there'll be a designated area for taxis and parking, which is developed, which will have a park. So as you're walking under the station at the minute, there's the disused railways that'll be turned into that kind of like what's it called now? The High Line in New York. Obviously, this is Rochdale, and it's not quite the same, but that's the idea. But the parking will be at the back, kind of in a new setting. But it won't be out the way. It won't be, you know, the back of the station will be very much a focal point of the rail station.
Right, thank you. Councillor Meredith wants to follow it up.
Yeah, sorry, it was just a quick follow-up, John. So yeah, that's brilliant to hear. It's like you're saying, I do want to see these new people coming into the town centre area. Obviously, they're going to be 16 minutes away from Manchester, and it would be ideal for them to attract them into this area, obviously for economic reasons. Now, all I want to do ask you is, obviously, as a chair of this group, and I can imagine that other councillors on the call obviously feel the same about this, is that people in that area do not end up getting priced out of that area and do not end up losing housing that, you know, that area desperately needs, because it's very dense and that housing is needed. Now, the other thing I wanted to say as well, it does say in the report, obviously, to attract new businesses into the area. Obviously, we just want to see that support again for them businesses that have been in that area for years, basically. And I can imagine that others on the call again do agree with that comment. So it's brilliant to see all this, you know, forward thinking and where we're going. It's very positive. I'm not trying to say that it's not positive in the slightest. I just want to make sure that people of the borough and of that area, especially in Milkstone and Deeplish, are being protected, and they will be able to get housing, basically. Thank you.
You're very right. Thank you. John?
Yeah, so there was actually an built environment network event where this was raised in terms of, you know, what's the demographic, what's the type of people moving in. Some of the houses in the neighbourhood Rochdale site will actually be, now this doesn't relate quite specifically to the SPD, but just to give you an example of the development that is coming forward. Some of those houses are 4-bedroom. Now, I'm regularly told by the Asian community, which obviously is very diverse in Milkstone and Deeplish, that they want bigger housing, that some of the houses that are built are 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom, but it's not of sufficient size. And actually what's being developed in the neighbourhood Rochdale will offer some 4-bedroom housing. So the mix of housing is important, but the word is mix. So we're not trying to just protect what's there. We are trying to get a different crowd. If you live in the city centre, we do want you to live in Rochdale, and this is a key area to do that. But I will point out, when you talk about businesses, a big draw to living in Milkstone is the diversity. I know when I was at university, I used to do a lot of shopping in a shop like Worldwide, mainly because of the, you know, you can't get that amount of food in Morrison's, and the choice of being able to still go and shop there. So the diversity of the area is part of the attraction. So we don't want to get rid of that. What we do want to do is we want to enhance it, and we want to provide some better quality housing to attract some different types of people, which is a positive.
And thank you, John. Danny, are you happy with that, or do you?
Yeah, I've got one more question not relating to housing, please. Just to quickly follow up on that, John, very positive, and I'm glad to hear your answer. It's just about championing the people in that area. My other question is, obviously, it says, obviously, walk, you know, to improve walking, improving cycling, obviously to canal side and stuff like that. Obviously, you've I've seen your comment on a couple of things on Facebook to do with the canal itself. So it's just wondering, I understand that it's got nothing to do with this at all, but if we're improving walking to the canal side, will the canal's walking trails be improved?
So that's separate to this SPD, but I've spoken to the leader regularly, and I notice he's just come off mute, and I'm sure he'll jump in. I thought we saw a representation on the Rochdale Canal Company, whatever it's called these days, Canals and Rivers Trust. And we will be speaking to him about upping the game. I know the leader was furious because he was doing a lot of walking over the past lockdown, and they'd recobbled the part in Yorkshire, but not the part in Rochdale. So it's definitely, you know, as a proud Lancastrian like I am, we were fuming. But the point there is, Danny, is, this area's got a lot of infrastructure, and part of the canal being there, the railway. Bizarrely enough, there's a business at the back of the station that fixes boats, and that's there historically, we think, because of the days when you would have boats back at the canal near the station. So that area, it's got fantastic environment links through the canal. We will have this new urban park, which is shown on the figure in the SPD, and that that area is little green space of that nature. But the aim really is to improve the environment. I don't know if Alan wants to come in on the canal.
Yeah, well, first
Thank
of all,
you.
I'll make a comment.
Alan, I've got Asim waiting before you come in. Asim?
Well, it's on the same point, Chair.
Okay, go on.
Same point, yeah.
First of all, I just want to comment, as my two fellow ward councillors know, there's already quite a bit of new housing in the area on Milkstone Road, Durham Street, Elk Street, which you'll not have heard of because it's part of the new development, Ebor Road. So they're there as well. And when the lockdown wasn't on and I could do things, I did go delivering Christmas cards and welcome letters to find it was a very diverse community. But can I turn to the canal? I've already mentioned I've been because I haven't been as well, and because of the some of the weather, I did a canal walk again this week from Firgrove Bridge towards Clegg, and never have I seen such a disgrace. Now, it's not caused by the canal itself, it's caused by what I call vandals and mindless people throwing stuff.
Can't hear you.
Throwing stuff into the canal. But if you walk the section of the canal that goes through Milkstone and Deeplish, you'll find it's one of the most neglected areas. Now, thanks to Martin Taylor and Mark Widdop, I've got a contact. He's called Darren Greenosh, and I think he's the coordinator for the whole of the canal. If I've got his name wrong, Victoria has it. He's the coordinator for all of the canal trust in the northwest. Now, he's promised to send me in the next 10 days an update on what he's been doing, because we can't do a major piece of work like this, Chair and John, without involving quite a large landowner with one of the busiest thoroughfares for walking, etc. And we've also got to make sure that what is the canal land is properly looked after, and what is our land that borders it has sufficient bins, has sufficient cleanups, etc. So I'm very powerful about that, and hopefully as this plan develops and as people go in, you, John, will make sure all of those views are taken into account. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Asim.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I think it's a brilliant effort by John and Regeneration team, because we need a new modern Rochdale, and the gateway of Rochdale is going to be changed. When someone will come out from Rochdale station, he'll see a modern Rochdale. My first part of question is already covered by Danny. I just want to bit clarification on the commercial part. Is the commercial zone is going to be a freehold or leasehold, or what is about the commercial zone? Is this going to be a retail sector, or are we going to do something else with the food chains? Because there is already food chains on Milkstone Road. So how we going to adjust existing commercial leaseholder and retailers will be given priority? So do we have any plan for them?
So obviously we're live on YouTube, so I don't want to talk about any specific businesses, but there's some obvious businesses in the SPD which, the council have been talking to. But we don't have necessarily all the answers to all these nuts and bolts. So what this SPD is it sets out the grand vision. It kind of formalises it in terms of, it's a proper policy of the council. All the things you just described, asking about, what's good in that unit, what's the floor space going to be, that'll all come out now, because this moves from being a strategy and being, what we do in terms of policy to actually delivering it. And that's kind of the flip that this report So that what happens there in terms of, you know, he's talking about the commercials and stuff. What type of commercial units open and things will kind of be dictated by the market. If the businesses in the local area want a unit, you know, they'll be able to get one. The council's willing to work with them. It'll be more about how do we deliver it? What do they want? Do businesses want to expand in the area, or do we want somebody from outside to complement what's going on in Milkstone? But it's not that far down the line. This document simply kind of sets out, this is your local plan, this is what's going on in the area, and just kind of lets everybody know out there, this is the council's grand vision for the area. But what everybody else does to deliver that is yet to happen. We don't know.
Right. Thank you, John. I have two questions.
Mr. Zaman, before you ask your own questions, can I just ask something else?
Go on.
Yeah. We recently, you, me, and Samina recently received an email. It might have been from TFGM. I'm not certain.
It is, yeah.
It is from them about a new scheme to try and stop one of the worst problems in the area. That is traffic cutting through the ward on its way to the town centre. This is from people who live in Castleton mainly. Two people in particular I know who cut through Milkstone Road and Tweedale Street. I'm not saying who they are on this call, but I know regularly they used to complain about the state of the road, and I used to say, well, if they hadn't used it so often, it wouldn't have got so bad. But I'm being joking there. But perhaps, Mr. Zaman, when that meeting's called, if we could ask Councillor Blundell to come along as well, because this is another strategy.
Yeah.
Because you and I know that one of the biggest problems is traffic in the area, and it's not always local traffic, but traffic cutting through, because it is an easy way in to the town centre. And if John hasn't heard of it, I'm sure you or I can send him the details.
Thank you. Samina, you raised your hand.
Thank you, Chair. The scheme the Councillor Brecht is mentioning, I'm working with the officer from council. It's a pilot project, and the one which we're doing in Stony Field is related to that. Is to create safe play street areas in Milkstone and Deepleach, because of being deprived and not enough spaces for the children and young people is part of that whole scheme, and it's quite exciting. And I have been working with the Lisa, who's doing this project, who's leading this project, and I'm sure it is going to be an add-on to this SPD around the Rochdale train station. So basically, it's not just that we're developing around the Rochdale train station. There are a number of other small projects who are going side by side and are going to highlight in future and make it a bigger picture. Obviously, people can't see it, but we as a ward councillor know that things are happening, and very soon people will be seeing it happening in a physical way and will appreciate it. And I'm really excited about this project, because I think since 2014 I became a councillor, I have always been raising Rochdale train station, because it's like a gateway in such a bad shape, and I'm really pleased that it has taken some shape, and I'm looking forward to see it happening and improving the area, because I always believe that this Milkstone Road and Tweedale Street are like a part of our town centre, so it need to be developed and to be so that the people who go in town centre, they don't feel it's dialect. They start to have a feeling that the moment they get out of the train station, the town centre starts, and that's how it should look, and that's how it should feel, and all the diversity we have. It should be available there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for that comment. Thank you, Samina. Councillor Jane Warner.
Thank you, Chair. Sounds a really good project. I was just having a look before and today at the plans. The one thing that strikes me is it'll be really great. You come off the train, you've got a fabulous new high density house and all this type of things going on, play zones. It's just that connection between that and then you walk into the town centre where we've also got amazing things going on. I know we've got the Heritage Action Zone in Drake Street, which will hopefully have some improvements, but I was around when it was the SRB5 and it kind of never really worked. And I worry that you'll get out and you have this wonderful vision and then you've got Drake Street and then you'll have, Riverside. It's kind of that middle bit. Is that's all going to be taken into consideration as well?
Yeah, so I have the same headache as you about this, because it is kind of what you don't want is two areas. You kind of want, but just on this, and the leader stole me thunder when he became the leader. So what I always wanted to try and get the tram between Rochdale Station and the town centre for free, because very few people use it. The leader managed to lobby hard enough to get a trial, so that if you had a train ticket and you arrive in Rochdale, you can use that train ticket to get on the tram, a bit like you can in the city centre for free, to stop people having to walk that track basically. But the answer to your problem is yes, but I don't think the time's now. I think the big attraction is the station. I think the reason me and Elsie, for example, now live in Littleborough, I am from the ward I represent, Fairgrove, is because we wanted to get into Manchester quickly for work. So we got a little flat near the station, and now we live in the village centre. And so that's the attraction, is that access to Manchester city centre. Once that area's developed out a bit and is looking smart, and you've got really high quality public realm, you've got this new pocket park. You have to remember Broadfield Park and stuff is hammered. Very well used park. It'll then start to kind of push down Drake Street. I don't think it'll go the other way to the canal. I think the pull will be towards the town centre. And the neighbourhood Rochdale scheme has already been successful actually in doing this, because the Heritage Action Zone has been working with, so I don't know if I'm supposed to mention the buildings, but certainly in the past, like the old Observer building and the like, being brought forward for flats has started to happen again. Things have started to move, and that's because of this SPD and the announcement of Neighbourhood Rochdale. So there's no formal plan as such in terms of the Heritage Action Zone, and I think what we need to do is continue to focus on them two areas you mentioned, the actual town centre, the Esplanade, because that is Rochdale's strength, not to call our neighbours, but even Bury, even though people sometimes see Bury as more affluent, doesn't have the town hall, doesn't have the same buildings around the river. That's a really key part of Rochdale. But if we can get around the station right, I think it'll kind of happen on its own. The market will just bring those sites forward. Instead of Drake Street being a problem, it'll be the area that's in between two really good places. And therefore, it will happen naturally. And if not, I'm sure in 5-10 years, there'll be a plan to deal with that.
That's right. Thank you, John. See, our mixed and deepest ward is in between. So we have the boundaries with the Baldiston and Kirkhope, Kingsway, Central, and Scotland as well. So, a lot of people do come to station, Tweedle Street area for shopping. So it is, needed, and I hope that we are moving forward towards it. In our area, there are a lot of small businesses, and they need business units to start business. And some of them, there's a lot of demand. People come to us and make inquiries. So just give us some, information in terms of assisting, supporting small businesses through the units.
I'm just trying to look for the graphic. There is a graphic somewhere. Certainly I've seen it. Where it kind of gives you an idea. I mean, the main developments will be around the start you walk the building, the network rail land. That's where you're going to get the kind of small units, and also on the fronts of neighbourhood Rochdale, where you've got the tram line as it coming down Drake Street. There's when that gets built out, that'll have some community uses on the bottom as well, and some commercial units. I think there is 2 supermarkets there, Hadji and Worldwide, and obviously I've already said, you know, we want to keep that kind of offer in the area. But, you know, as you'll know, a lot of the premises available are not always, you know, the grade people want them. So this is an opportunity to provide better units, but that's not really part of this SPD. Like Asim said earlier, that will come when we start to look at what are the options. But once this is in place, like I said, it's then moves away from strategizing and more about delivery. Obviously, we've already looked at facts and figures, and not fact. Well, yeah, we've looked at facts, but we've looked at figures and costs and things to make sure that a lot of this is sensible, and it is. But those finer details, Zaman, will come out in the wash. But it will be driven by demand. So if that's what the demand is, that's what will get built.
Thank you. One of the questions people ask, you know, we are going to go through the consultation. How flexible are we? You may be getting a lot of proposals, a lot of suggestions from businesses, from the local residents. So, you know, how long the consultation is going to continue. And when we are looking into that, you know, say that this is the final plan and we need to move forward.
So the actual consultation on this SPD, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think it's 4 weeks. Okay. This is when you need an officer here to remind you of the exact timelines. I think it's 4 weeks. If it isn't, I'll get that emailed out to you guys. If not, but on the point of consultation, so you don't actually, I don't think you need the lengthiest consultation to look at this document, because this document isn't, you know, isn't the be all and end all. What this document produces isn't then definitely going to happen to the T. This is more about, is this kind of the broad strokes of what we want? So the consultation really, Zaman, will happen piece by piece. So every time we look to develop a site, there'll be consultation around that site, because if we want to shut a road, we would have to consult on that. If you want to move double yellows, you have to consult on that. You know, if we are, you know, if we do want to develop the site which has got the supermarkets on, well, obviously we'll have to speak to the supermarkets. So when we say consultation, yes, there's a formal consultation, but I would argue the actual 6 weeks. Sorry, Michael Garraway has just confirmed in the chat. I'm a liar. I thought it was 4 weeks. I'm pretty sure the SPD for Lower Failings was 4 weeks, and I've got the two confused. I forgot where I was up to now. I was rambling on. No, gone.
Thank you. Thank you, John. That's it. I think anybody else wants to comment or ask question?
Sorry, man.
Councillor Shirin.
Sorry, one last thing. The consultation for 6 weeks. What I was saying was this. You know, this is a formal consultation about this exact document, but what actually is going to happen is going to take a lot of consultation, because all the different people and players in that area are going to have, the council are going to have to work with them to deliver it. It's going to become very complex. So anybody sat at home worrying about, you know, is the council just going to come and tiff me out, or, you know, what's happening? I've got a bit of colour on where my business is. I wouldn't worry about it, because if anything's going to happen, you'll be the first to know.
Thank you for reassuring that. Councillor Shirin.
Thank you, Chair. You can imagine that I'm really very, very pleased and very interested in the development that we're proposing here.
Yeah.
Two major churches. There's a church which I'm involved with at St. John's, a Roman Catholic church, the one with the big dome on. That is, as soon as you exit the station, it's the major thing that you do see in front of you. And it fronts also the fire station, and they're both built out of the same brick, and they both look magnificent when you look at them in context, just two of them. At present, with Arges being there, which is the old Ford motor garage when I was a boy, and it was clapped out in them days. For that to be knocked down, I am absolutely desperate for it to happen, because it's an eyesore. Anyone coming into the town seeing that firsthand, it doesn't give us any impression of any sort of quality of the place. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite, which is a worry. So I am pleased, I'm really pleased, because we've also got the Curtain Theatre and all, which is on Milestone Road, which is a very well used theatre, which has been there now for 96 years. So we're hoping to get to the 100 years. And we'd love a new outlook of the area for that 100 year celebration, which is coming at us rather quickly. Okay. And the other one is that the consultation, it starts on the 22nd of February, doesn't it? And it goes on for 6 weeks, John. We've got a very successful consultation going on in Castleton at present. And what they've done is that they've leafleted everybody in the area, and they've also given on that leaflet details of an online where you can send your comments, and also you can do it by letter. And last Friday, I asked Chris Woods, who's the officer in charge of that, how was the consultation going? And he said he had 400 replies. Now that's a proper consultation because the people are speaking, and that's what you want on this issue as well, because it encompasses so many people, doesn't it? That's right. Finally, I won't go rambling on anymore, but the easiest way for me to get to St John's and to the Curtain Theatre is through Deeplish. The reason is I only go through one set of traffic lights. If I go up Queensway, if I go Manchester Road, I have 6 sets of traffic lights. Okay. You see me dashing through Deeplish, it's because I'm going the quickest way and it's the less polluting way for me. Okay, you understand that? Just for a bit of history here for you all, there used to be a #1 bus, which was Rochdale Corporation bus when I was a lad, and it went down Queensway and it went down Wellick Lane and it went round all round Deeplish, past the railway station and down to the town centre. And that was the way that I used to also go on my bike. So, Alan, you're on your bike, like me. See you later. Thank you, everybody.
Just on,
Thank you.
Is on, Councillor Zaman. As you'll know, this area, we talk about the community and stuff like that. Rochdale has recently set up with Calderdale a what's called a community rail partnership, and Billy initiated it when he was the mayor. He asked me to do it and share it, and I do. So the borough, well, I do, but the councils work in terms of working with the railway to try and develop around it and get the community involved. You know, it's quite extensive, really. So we have the Stations Alliance that I'm the chair of, and that works with the groups I mentioned earlier. We then have the Community Rail Partnership, which we're hoping to get an officer for, which will look at trying to get the community involved in all the developments going on and the railway more broadly, and work with the community. So Councillor Shearing mentioned the church and things. You know, there's the actual views of that area are spectacular. You've got the Blue Mosque at the back. You've got the cathedral. Not cathedral. It looks like a cathedral. The Catholic church at the front. And the fire station museum. You know, it is a spectacular area. The council's doing a lot of work to work with the community there, and I think if we get these plans over the line, it will be a huge boost to the businesses, the theatre, everything going on. And I've not really had any negative comments about it. I think it's normally if something's going wrong, I hear about it, my phone lights up. This time things have been, if anything, I've only had positive responses.
Thank you, John. That's great. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to add anything, make comment or question? No? Thank you very much, John, for that. Going on to the next item, number 9. Create 2 footpaths over land at Spring Hill.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to the meeting.
Thank you, Julie.
I have 2 footpaths that we initially had a claim. Oh, I think it was about the 80s during Tim Wood's days in Rochdale Council. And they submitted a map and asked for all these routes to be put on the definitive map. At the time, the rights of way officer agreed, but he didn't take any action to put any on there. So now we're left with going through an actual procedure, which the applicant has gone through 2 procedures to add 2 routes to the definitive map. And the land is off Crompton Avenue in Rochdale, and it's the Spring Hill site. What we have there is we've got football fields there as well. And one of the routes that was being claimed ran right at the side of this football field, which would have impacted on the players. So what the council have done, we've offered 2 alternative routes, which has been agreed by the applicant, and now we're looking to follow the procedure to add these routes to the divided map. There isn't any consultation with general public because the land is council's, and we can add them under a Section 25 Highways Act. So it's quite a simple procedure, and if you're in agreement, I instruct our legal to proceed with that. I don't know if you have a map. Have you been provided with a map?
Yes, we have been sent.
Yeah, I've tried to give you as much information on there about where the routes were claimed and where there are footpaths that there isn't any status at all, and then the routes that we have offered as alternative routes that have been accepted by the applicants. So I'm looking today for your agreement to proceed with the applications and implement these routes on the ground.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we go to ward councillors? Councillor Meredith?
Thank you very much, Chair. It's just a quick comment. I'd just like to thank everyone who's been involved with this. It's been ongoing for the last 6 to 7 years this now. Originally, it did come to Township, and at the time, I know myself and Councillor Farnell didn't want this to go forward because it would have impacted on the football club. As the local councillor, I did start to liaise with officers, with the residents, and with the football club, and it has been an ongoing, basically situation in the area to actually get this forward and get it sorted out as soon as possible. Now, it's like you're saying, it's come to fruition that we've managed to get this sorted out. The footpaths are in the right place now. Ward councils have been involved with this for the last 6 years. So I just suggest that we just get it through tonight because it's been sorted out, and it's all, we're all happy basically with the outcome that we've got tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe this have gone through the proper consultation planning, and ward council have been involved. So hopefully we'll. Councillor Shirin, do you wish to say anything?
Thank you, Chair. I think Dan has more or less answered my question. Actually, I wanted to know, had the football club been consulted? Because I know there was a lot of animosity over this coming to township meetings and what have you in the past. And it really did get quite nasty. And I'm really pleased that there's been a solution. But I just wanted to know, because it wasn't mentioned, did the football club were they involved in the consultation?
Can I come in, Councillor Zaman, on that?
Yeah. So
it's just to reassure Billy, Councillor Sheeran, pardon me, that I know Councillor Farnell has been in very close contact with the football club throughout this full, consultation that's been going on. Basically, I must admit, I've been involved with the resident side of Crompton Avenue Action Group.
That's where your votes are, Danny. That's where your votes are.
Yeah, hopefully they vote for me. But anyway, it's like you're saying, I've been involved with the Crompton Action Group. There's been involvement with the football club as well. Everyone's happy with this outcome now. And hopefully we can move forward from this, because it's like you're saying, Councillor Shavin, there was a lot of animosity when this first came forward. There was people bringing sticks and bags of poo to meetings and stuff like that.
Dog shit, yes, I remember those days. Happy days,
exactly,
yes.
I know. So basically, I'm glad that we've got a solution to this now, and that we can actually move forward tonight, get this to legal, get this sorted out, and we can actually get these rights of way in. And also on the top of that, we actually have got an improvement scheme that's going to be coming forward for these footpaths as well, to make sure that they can be accessible as much as possible, basically. So it's great to see that all officers have been involved with this and trying to push this forward to get it sorted out. I know that there's been officers not just from environment, but from basically all sides of the council, legal, thanking everything. So it's just brilliant that we've got this sorted out tonight and we can actually move forward.
Great, that's very good. So you propose as a ward councillor. Kath, as ward councillor, Kath, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's been an ordeal as a councillor, because you've been trying to protect a great many people's interests, and I think it's been worth the time and the effort to get such a good outcome. So I would support it absolutely.
Thank you very much. Do we all support this?
Yeah. Move it, Chair.
Right, okay.
Oh, yeah, great to see local governments working now. There we go.
Can we thank
it's been approved
for our input into this?
Julie, so it's been approved, Julie. So I'm sure that you'll be happy.
Thank you very much.
You know, whatever the legal procedure, whatever, I think that's going to be taken care of. Right, that was item 9. I think that's the last item on our agenda, but we have something else just to discuss. Can I ask